Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. To make my topiaries for the wedding, I'm going to be using these flower pots, and I've cut 65 centimeters of hose pipe, which I'm going to be slicing and putting on the top of each pot. Now I'm making 10 of them, so I'll be just showing you how to make one of them. The other thing I'm using are tent poles, and I'm using some packaging for the oases. Unfortunately, my video got corrupt, so I'll just explain what I did. I've taken my tent pole and put it into the pot, and then I've just used rapid set cement and put it in there, and then poured water in, and the pole is set in there. And now I'm going to paint all my pots. The easiest way to cut the hose pipe, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting it at the back all the way along. So I've got the heat gun, which I'm going to just be heating the hose pipe up so I can cut it. So now I want to cut on the other side, so I'm just going to flip it. And then it makes it nice and soft to cut, and then all you just do is slice it through. Try and heat it in small sections at a time so that it doesn't cool down too quick while you're trying to cut it. And then cut all the way around. While it's still warm, just open it out and put it over the pot. So it can cool down in that shape, and then I'm going to take hot glue and glue it onto there. I've got all my hose pipes glued onto my pots, and I've given them a first coat of paint. I'm using this Interior Lotion acrylic paint, and it's just white. My 2 coats of paint are dry, and now I'm going to put the marbling effect on. I'm just using a very, very small little brush like that. Just take a small little spray bottle and spray it on there. You can put as many on as you want, and you can spray them as much as you would like. Try and get the water so that it's going down at a 45-degree angle. And just do all the pots like that. To finish off my marble effect, I'm going to be using the same colour, which is the black pearl, and I'm going to be taking a little bit of that and mixing it with some of the white, and then adding a wee bit of water. So I've got quite a runny consistency of paint, and now I'm going to be taking a sponge and I'm going to be dabbing it onto my pot, and just in very, very random places, just to get a bit of a cloudy effect. So I'm going to just take some water and flick it on there. And then dab it off. So it gives you like a bit of a mottled effect. And then once the paint is a little bit dry, take some water and just flick it onto it with your fingers just like that, and just dab it off. And then you see it leaves like watermarks. And I'm just going to do that to all my pots. The paint is all dry on my little pots, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking my paintbrush that I just rinse in water, so the paint is really, really, really thin pretty much just a water wash, so that we can paint that on to just blur it. So you see it just blurs it slightly so that it's not so dark. And then I'm just going to paint all the pots with that little bit of watered down paint. I've just encountered some gold paint, and I'm using rich gold for this, and then I'm just wetting my paintbrush, and I'm using quite a fine paintbrush, and then we're just going to take it and do a few veins on the pot. So just holding your brush so that your hand is over, so that you can rotate your fingers like that, so you get some really random shapes, because you don't want them really straight. So something like that. I'm going to be using this Brilliance sealer finish to coat all my pots now, and I'll be putting 3 coats on. I'm just using a chalk wipe to wipe the polish over. To cover my poles, I'm using this polytear ribbon and some sticky tape, and I've got my pots on a Lazy Susan so that I can just attach the ribbon and then rotate. I've marked the top of my pole as to how far I want to take the ribbon up to, because you don't want to put ribbon on where the oasis is going to be going on. I've just placed a piece of the tape, the sticky tape, at the end of the ribbon, and now I'm going to be positioning it in the pot and securing that. When you put your ribbon on and you start rotating it, just make sure that you're not getting a gap in between it like that. You want it to be crossing over exactly on the line like that, and then all you have to do is just rotate the Lazy Susan and your ribbon gets wrapped on. And then I'm going all the way up the pole like that. Once you get to the top, just put another piece of tape on it and then tape it all down, and then you've got your pole all nicely covered. To make the oasis for my flowers, I've got this like squishy foam packaging, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to slice it off in between and glue these 2 pieces to each other. I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue those together. So now I'm just going to take the sides and trim them down so that I've got a bit of a circle. I've got most of my flowers that I'm going to be using laid out on the table, and what I've done is I've cut them all so that they are from the tip of the flower to the stem at the base. They're 7 centimeters long. If you want them to be bigger, you just have to cut that portion longer, and then they'll stick out further from your oasis. The Topairy trees that I'm working on are very large, so I'm actually going to be using really large flowers. So the size of these flowers are actually 10 centimeter flowers. If you work with smaller flowers, you're going to need a lot more. When you're choosing flowers, try and choose flowers that have got a really nice full bloom like that. Even though these are really pretty, they don't fill the spaces quite as nicely as the full ones. I'm doing 2 at a time because I need matching, so I'm taking some of the red ones and starting in the center. And then I'm going to be placing 4 around the sides because these are really big flowers. If you want them smaller, just push the flowers in further. And now I'm taking some of the big white roses and going to place them in between the red ones. And now I'm going to be taking some hibiscus and I'm going to be placing them between the two red roses, so just in between there. And now in between the three white ones, we're going to put another red one. Just make sure that you're getting a nice round look to it. In between all the spaces now, you need to start adding greenery, because otherwise you're going to use too many flowers. And at the bottoms here as well, you can put more flowers or you can put greenery. I just want to show you the difference between having the full flowers like these ones. That one's got the exact same amount of flowers in as this one. And as you can see, using these small ones, you have a lot of vacant spaces. So these beautiful little flowers are going to have to get a lot more flowers in this particular one. So it's well worth getting the fuller flowers instead. The little gaps that are over here, I'm just taking some of the little leaves and placing them in there just to cover. So now it's all nice and full. So that's what the Topairies are looking like. I've got these nice big pebbles, which I'm going to be using to fill the bottom of all the pots with. I've got 1 meter of the poly tie ribbon and I'm going to be folding it so that I've got slightly different lengths. So one a little bit longer than the other, and then I'm just taking some 24 gauge floristry wire, which is a very thin wire, and I'm just going to cut that in half and then attach it to the ribbon. So I actually cut it into 3 pieces because the half was just a bit too long, and now I'm just taking the ribbon and I'm just crunching it and then going to tie the wire around that. So I'm just placing this underneath into the foam at the top here, just so that it can dangle down like that. And now we have all the Topairies completed and set up for the wedding. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.